Typically, the main street of a small Ontario town does not include a storefront that invites the public in to not only shop, read, or have a coffee, but to experience someone praying for them. The Father's Heart Healing Center was opened on July 1st, 2011 for this very purpose, and it's resulted in some interesting encounters.
We had a young gal come into the healing room one Friday afternoon. Within a few minutes, she just really, she started to weep, and she said, what is this that I'm feeling? I'm just feeling overwhelmed. And I said, I believe that's the Spirit of God.
4 days later, the young woman returned and gave Maggie a radical idea.
She looks at me and she says, hey, she says, how come I can't move in here with you guys? How come you don't have a home for women? And when she said that, something just went right through me. And I looked around and I thought, yeah, God, how come we don't have a home for women? We should have a home for women, especially women coming out of human trafficking, the sex trade, and addiction.
A few days later, Maggie had an extraordinary experience. She saw a vision of what God wanted to do through the house.
I saw a harvest field of women stretched out across Canada. And I saw the name written above this harvest field was Cinderella. And as I looked at this harvest field, I heard the Lord say, I've come to rescue the broken women who live among the ashes. I've come to transform the orphan heart into a heart of a daughter. I will encounter them with my love. And I could just feel God's heart for these women who are caught in the sex trade and human trafficking across Canada, that he was looking for a place where he could send them.
Only 15 minutes after the vision, a lady who had heard about Maggie's dream for a home came and told her about a house that she owned.
She says, we built the house 3 years ago. The Lord spoke to us and told us that one day it would be used as a residence for women exiting human trafficking, the sex trade, and addiction. She says, so I'm here to ask you, would you like to come and look at this house and see if it's what you have in mind?
The secluded, beautiful 6-bedroom home fit the exact description of what Maggie had envisioned for trafficked women on the healing journey.
I really felt that God wanted us to give each woman a queen bed in her room, and so that it would be a real demonstration of the lavish love of God, that the rooms would be beautiful and they would really provide a personalized space for each woman.
To help support and be the public face for the Transformation House, the Cinderella store was opened.
People have come from all over and just donated beautiful things. And so we really have a high standard. It doesn't feel like a thrift store. It really does feel like a high-end boutique.
In the fall of 2015, the Transformation House welcomed its first resident, the same young woman who gave Maggie the idea for the home. Her story is not unlike many young women who are sexually trafficked or struggle with addiction.
I was an escort since I was 15. I also got involved in exotic dancing. I was into cocaine really bad and Molly. I was just so broken and alone. I was in women's shelters, on the streets for a while, just living in and out of guys' houses that were paying me. I called Maggie when I was at my lowest and I was like, Maggie, I need your help. Is there any way you can come help me? Is there room at the house? She texted me back and said, you're gonna be the first girl. And I was just blown away.
That young woman is now on a journey of healing, receiving much prayer and counseling for her drug and sexual abuse problems.
God's put on my heart that I want to help other women. Eventually I want to become a police officer. And I want to become a detective to help women in the sex trafficking.
We don't want the women to depend on us. We want them to depend on God, and we want them to find what their gifts are, and we want to nurture that and see them walk in that.
And surprisingly, discovering and expressing their unique gifts has actually played a key role in the restoration of these women.
I completed my first painting. It was a vision God gave me. And it really did, it healed parts of me that were hurting emotionally. It was certainly far better than any drug I've ever taken. You know, it helped way more. It was therapeutic.
Staff at the Transformation House know there's a deeper purpose for the girls they are working with.
The reason they're here is to equip them for when they leave here, you know, so that they're stronger when they go out there, so they won't go back to not being able to set boundaries, to know what's right and what's wrong, to know the heart of the Father, to know how much they loved. I think that is the most important thing, to know that they're loved.
For me personally, more has been done and more has changed in my life for the better. It's a loving place. They're very supportive. You can talk to them about anything.
And we're seeing women come who have been really broken, really damaged, coming with a lot of like addiction and personality disorders, a lot of trauma, sexual abuse. And they're coming with a lot of those broken, desperate, shattered dreams. I've sat in front of some of these ladies and listened to their stories, and we've ministered to them, and I've seen God change hearts. I've seen Him give revelation and change mindsets. I learned that if God says He's going to do something, He'll do it. Doesn't matter how awful the story sounds or how deep the trauma is, that God is able to bring healing and wholeness.
I've been praying and doing things in ministry for a long time, but I've never seen anything move so fast. The whole mindset is changed in 2 weeks. They know who they are. And it's also gentle. There's no screaming and yelling, you know? It's just so gentle and beautiful. I see it working, and that's my incentive to stay.
Honestly, they saved my life. If they didn't pick me up that day, I don't think I'd be here. And I just thank God for having the grace for allowing me to come.